this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to use a mold form. In this case, I actually do have a plaster mold that I'm going to be laying my slab over. However, you can also use things like wadded up newspaper, plastic bowls, wood bowls, covered in Vaseline or talc. That does work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of lay this on here. And I'm going to move this just a little bit up. I'm going to make sure I leave plenty of space around it, and I'm just going to give a sort of rough cut to generally shape this and get rid of a little bit of the excess material around it, just so I'm not using everything on my slab, because I have quite a bit of still good material there. So I'm going to set that aside. And as you can see, this is really, really wet clay. If you're going to drape something over some sort of improvised mold or plaster mold, you do need to use a slab that is freshly rolled out. You don't want to leave it sit, because if you try to do this when the clay is very firm, it will not work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift things around. I'm going to slide this off to the side. I'm going to set this right here, and I am going to very carefully lift and drape this. I'm not going to start pressing down too much yet until I get this adjusted, and then I'm going to start to press down all around those edges. All right, and the clay will stretch a little bit as you do this. That's fine. And you can make your pieces shorter than the actual height of the mold. That is fine. You can do ruffled edges. There's a variety of things you can do. And then at this point, I'm going to get rid of some of the really excess material. Just to make this a little bit easier. Set that aside. And now what I'm going to do is I have a sort of improvised setup. I have this sort of lazy Susan and a bat and a couple of random objects. They happen to be like wax and glaze containers from my studio. I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to shift this into sight. I'm going to drape this over the top. And now I can actually finish draping this over the edges by just pressing around. And then I'm actually going to take my fettling knife, and I'm going to start to trim at the very bottom edge. I am not going so close to the plaster mold that I'm actually cutting in and touching the plaster mold. You do not want to actually cut into the plaster at all with this. I'm going to do that all the way around. I'm going to go to this side for this, finish that up. And I might have to go fine tune that a little bit, depending on how well I did. And that looks actually pretty good. And then I'll do final trimming on this once this is dry enough to actually work with. If I try to take this off now, it's really floppy. It's not really going to work. I'm going to have to leave this for a good hour to 2 hours sitting on the mold before the clay will actually be leather hard and able to be removed from the mold. So in that time, I can smooth it, get it as clean as possible, because the advantage of having this on the mold is it's not moving around on me. So I can take care of any smoothing that I want to at this point. But then in a couple of hours, I will be able to literally just flip this upside down and pop